So The Platform is a movie that was released on Netflix last month, and it's a sci-fi horror film that takes place in a futuristic vertical prison where food is delivered by the descending platform from the upper levels to the lower. While the inmates of the upper level eat their heart out, those at the lower levels starve. Now, I had no idea about this film's existence, and I hadn't seen it, even a trailer for it. So when one of my friends suggested it for a watch party, I was surprised that I hadn't heard of this apparently brilliant film, and I admit I was blown away. After watching the film, I think for me the deeper theme of this movie was redemption, and also the fall of morality, how humans are capable of unimaginable acts if the circumstances force them to do so. From what I have understood after watching the film, the prison is a metaphor for capitalism and the current structure of society. The rich do as they like, and they shit on the poor, and the poor are left to fight for scraps. The levels signify the class of the people, and the food signifies wealth and resources. While the rich in our society have incredible amount of wealth and resources and can do whatever they like and live lavishly, the poorest of the society don't even have enough to live properly, forcing many to a life of crime. This is signified by the increasing violence of the lower levels. The lower the platform goes, the more violent people get. Now, if we were to thrive as a society, equal distribution of wealth is absolutely vital. I think this is the message the filmmaker was trying to get across the floor, and that equality is vital. So the film opens with Goran waking up in level 48 with his cellmate Trimagasi. The opening shot of this scene shows the confused irises of Goring, and that is exactly how the viewers are confused. This is a little motif snuck in by the director that I really liked, that hints early on that we'll be watching the events unfold through the perspective of Goring. This is expanded on later. So at first, Goring and Trimagasi are seen in level 48. Throughout the month, Goring gets more used to the situation and forms a bond with Trimagasi, becoming friends. Now, in this 1 month, they meet Miharu, a blooded woman they encounter in the descending pits, while Trimagasi explains that Miharu goes down the pit every month in search of her son. As soon as the first month ends, they're reassigned to level 171, where we're exposed to a violent Trimagasi, who ties Goring down to a bed to save him for eating later, and tells Goring that the platform will definitely be empty when it arrives, and Trimagasi is proven right for a week. We finally see that what hunger can do to people. As Trimagasi says, the hunger will turn you into a madman. On the 8th day, Trimagasi finally cuts into Goring to eat his flesh. He successfully takes some flesh off, but Goring is ultimately saved by Miharu. Miharu attacks Trimagasi as she comes down from the platform. She frees Goring and kills Trimagasi. Miharu cuts some of Trimagasi's flesh, feeding to Goring and eating some herself before continuing down. Here the director uses the transfer into lower levels to signify the slow descent into Goring's madness and also the descent into barbarity. As Goring goes down, he turns more into a madman, and the sudden dip in the levels signify the turn of Trimagasi into a barbarian. And so Goring barely survives this level, having no food and eating only human flesh. The following month, Goring wakes on level 33 with a woman called Imagiri as a cellmate. Now, Goring recognizes her from the interview before he got into the hole. Now, Imagori comes to the hole after getting diagnosed with terminal cancer and wants to change the way things are in the prison. She recently found out how horrible things are and came in to change things before she died. Now, Imagori rations her food and attempts to convince those below to do so as well, but they ignore her until Goring threatens to defecate in their food. Here, this is used to show the rigidity of the current system, and those who are privileged are reluctant to change for the greater good until they're forced to do so. Goring wakes up the next month on level 202 and finds that Imagori had hanged herself. Now, Goring eats her flesh to survive, experiencing hallucinations of her and Trimagasi instructed him to do so. These hallucinations are Goring's primal instincts showing him a way to survive. This is the lowest level Goring goes to, physically, mentally, and morally. Then he awakens in the following month on level 6. The sudden rise in the level is used to foreshadow the moral reawakening of Goring, how he turns into a better person slowly, while he is on level 6, to show that he wasn't fully gone and that anyone can come back from the deepest pits of suffering. His roommate, Baharat, attempts to climb up through the upper level with a rope that he brought to the pit. Now, the couple living on the level above first help him, but end up defecating in his face and pushing him down. Now, this is very obviously signifying the reluctance to change of the upper class. So, estimating there are 250 levels, Goring makes a plan to ride down the platform, rationing food, so all get a share, and convinces Bharat to go with him. As they keep going down the levels, some comply to their rules, some don't, some fight back, so they have to fight back. And in one level, they encounter Bharat's, mentor that he lived with and that guided him. He tells that what they're trying to do is basically going to fail unless they send a message to the authorities that all of their hard work, all of them giving the food to everyone won't matter unless the authorities know about it, because they're gonna get the food to everyone but the authority won't know about it. So he wants to send a message, so that's why they decide that they will keep one panna cotta untouched on the platform, and when it goes back up, the authorities will see that there is one untouched panna cotta after all the levels, and this would eventually send a message and bring them back to their senses. So after that, they keep going down and down, and Goring is eventually proven wrong, and they cross 250 levels and keep going down until they reach level 333, where they see a little child under the bench hiding. Now this is Miharu's son, or as they later find out when she comes out, that Miharu was looking for her daughter. Now, even after being reluctant at first, Bharat and Goring let the kid eat the panna cotta they worked so hard to preserve, and then they send the kid up with the platform as the kid is the message. And Goring decides to stay on level 333 after the hallucination of Trimagasi tells him to do so. Now, the director used this, I think, to signify that Goring was gone. Like, he went mad completely. And even after his moral reawakening, I think he thought he didn't deserve to live because of all the horrible acts he commits in the hole. And the hallucination of Trimagasi is just he himself telling that you don't deserve to live anymore because the hole has turned you into a person that you are not, and a person that doesn't deserve to go back into the outside world after what you have done here. So he stays on the lowest level and sends Miharu up. I think Miharu's kid's up, sorry. I think that kid is supposed to signify that the only way we're going to come over this inequality in our wealth and our society is if someone acts up and someone, starts from the bottom and gets to the top and changes things. I think change will come individually, and you cannot force people to change. I think they have to realize themselves. I think the key thing is the message that you cannot force the inmates to change. You cannot force the administration to change. You just have to send a message so they realize that what they're doing is wrong, and that eventual realization will help bring about change. I think this film is also brilliant for a lot of its camera work, its direction, dialogue, and montages. This film features a lot of montages that are very well directed and well cut, and the sound design is actually quite incredible. And yeah, I think this is one of the examples of a film being incredible with low budget, because you can see it's a fixed set with a handful of cast, but it's still brilliant storytelling turning into a brilliant film. So these are my thoughts and my explanations of the movie and how I think and how I perceived it. I can obviously be wrong. You can give me your thoughts on the comment section below, and I hope you had an absolutely fantastic time.